Hey guys, quick video on grading 2024 Prizm. These gem rates have been in the toilet this year. A lot of people have even given up grading 24 Prizm. And we're going to give a little bit of a guide on what to look for when you are looking at 24 Prizm, because if you can gem some of these cards, there is a nice premium to be had. The pop counts are super low. Wait times are long for a lot of the grading submission companies. So if you can get these cards in, get them gemmed, regardless of the sport, football, women's basketball, men's basketball, all those PSA 10s are going to hold value regardless of the long wait time. So I encourage you guys to take some of these tips when looking at 24 Prizm cards. And we're going to use Caitlin Clark as an example here today. We've got 3 parallels of hers. So we're going to talk about what to look for when you are going to evaluate a card for grading. And I have these in penny sleeves just to keep them protected. I would suggest using something like that, or gloves even, while handling cards, just to make sure you don't get any smudges on them, any fingerprints, anything like that. You can wipe off with a microfiber cloth. But you want to make sure they're not on there when you actually send them to grading, because that will get the surface score reduced. So let's take a look at this. Is a Blue Velocity Caitlin Clark variation from 24 Prizm. And the first things you want to evaluate when looking at a card are the corners. Those are the easiest things that will stick out to you. Is one of the corners bent? As you can see, this has a black color on the right corner, which will make any sort of frayed or bent corner will appear white right there. You also want to take a look at the back. Same thing here on that black right there. And then down here at the bottom, if you see any white there whatsoever, you do not want to send that card in for grading. That is going to automatically bring you down to a 9, if not even lower. Just based on that one corner. It can totally ruin the grade of a card. So once you've looked at all 4 corners and you're like, okay, these are good, no white, nothing's frayed, no bent corners, the next thing you want to look at is the centering. Centering is also one of the easiest things that you can look at from your eyes. There are a lot of centering tools out there that you can use both physically and digitally. There are apps you can use, websites you can use where you upload a picture of a card. You do have to kind of align the borders. But with cards like Prizm and Optic and other cards that have defined borders, a lot of times you can eye these. You can look at the sides, you can look at the top, bottom, and you can sort of match up which edges align with which edges. And this is going to give you a nice look at an off-centered card. This is a Caitlin Clark Ice Parallel. And as you can just look at the left to right, you're looking at these borders here. The right side looks a little thicker. You can look at the top compared to the bottom, and the top is much thicker than the bottom, so it's going to be off-centered just a little bit, not drastically. I've seen a lot worse. However, with PSA's new standard of 55-45, I do not believe this would pass. You can put this in an app. You can put this in a centering tool to get the exact measurements if you want. But this is one I'm going to actually pass on submitting just because of the centering. So I will not submit that one. Here is a Blue Velocity, the true rookie of Caitlin Clark, and I wanted to point out the centering on this one because it looks pretty good. So as you can see, the top right here is much smaller than where we were with this. Another thing you can also do is compare these to an already graded PSA 10 Prizm. So if you don't have one, you can always look one up on eBay. See what the PSA 10 cards look like. See what the 9s look like. And that'll give you sort of an idea in your mind as to what to look for, what the different sizes are, how cards can be different from each other. But as you can see with these two, the top and the bottom are much different in size. You can see the ice has a much thicker top than the blue velocity. You can also see the right hand column here. The right side is much thicker than this one, and it does not match up with the size of this one. So this one is off-centered right to left. Other things you want to look at are edges and surface. These are things that are not as easy to tell by the eye. So you can already eliminate a card by corners. You can eliminate a card by the centering. The third thing is the surface of a card, and that is something, you know, you want to look closely under a light at each card. With these cracked ice cards, it's a lot more difficult to tell what the surface looks like versus, say, you know, a Bowman Chrome card or a card that might have a smudge on it. But you do want to look and make sure there aren't any scratches on here at all. There are times where you cannot see them, and they are so small that you need to see them under a magnifying glass or a microscope even. But for the sake of this video, we're going to say this card is clean. I've looked at the surface. Everything looks good. The last thing is the edges, and there are 4 edges on a standard card. However, you do have some crazy die cut cards out there that are going to have multiple edges, which makes them much more difficult to evaluate for grading. And they're also more difficult to gem. So some of those die cut cards are worth a little bit more in a PSA 10 premium. But for this one, you know, edges look good. There are no issues. These cards were all pulled out straight out of a pack, which normally the edges are going to be okay. But every now and then there are some quality control issues where you'll see like crimping at some of the tops. You might have like a little nick or something on the sides. A lot of times the jersey cards or thicker cards will have those nicks just because those cards are more likely to get damaged. But once you've done that, you know, and you've determined, hey, surface looks good, edges looks good, card is nicely centered, you know, let's go ahead and send that off to grading. The one thing that I would do is sort of clean the surface off with a microfiber cloth. And I have one that fits on your fingers like this so that you can take the card out and you can sort of just give it a quick little wipe down. You don't have to do anything too crazy, but just make sure there are no fingerprints, there are no smudges, there is nothing on that card. Then that goes right into the Card Saver 1. You can get these on Amazon at a pretty good price. But this is how the card grading submission companies want you to send cards just like this. You go onto their website, put it in their system. They do have some specials, some minimum orders. You can see all that there. We'll do another video sort of recapping the different options for grading. But for now, we're just talking about 24 Prizm, what to look for. We're going to send this card in. We'll see how we do in about 90 days or so. Appreciate you guys watching, and let us know how you do grading 24 Prizm.